Let's take a look at replacing the throttle position sensor, or the TPS, on this 2001 Dodge Intrepid 2.7 liter VIN-R engine. Now, the throttle position sensor is located back here on the throttle body. Now you'll see that there's some corrosion on the heads of the screws here. Now I'm going to use my T25 to attempt to get these out. But again, they're threaded into this aluminum throttle body, and quite often they put Loctite on these from the factory. So it's not that uncommon to actually snap these off. So good news is our kit came with some new ones, but hopefully we're not going to need the new ones. I'm not a big fan of drilling out broken bolts here. If that's the case, we're going to have to remove the throttle body and do some drilling and additional machine work there. But first off, let me pinch the tab and remove the electrical connector. I'm going to kind of set that off to the side. Then I will take my T25 torx bit along with my 1/4" ratchet here. All right, I got the first one moving here. Let me try that bottom one to make sure I'm not in for any additional surprises yet. All right, it's working as well. Must be my lucky day. So I'm going to continue to back these off. But it's a good idea to inspect the wiring and before replacing the TPS on any vehicle, especially one like this where it's a potentiometer. We want to verify that we've got our 5-volt reference going to it, make sure we've got our ground signal, and then this is essentially a variable resistor. So depending on where the throttle is placed, the resistance level will be different and sending a varied voltage back to the powertrain control module. Now, some newer vehicles use a different style TPS in which it'll have a Hall effect sensor and more of a digital signal. However, this one's just a varied constant voltage going back to the PCM. Got my bottom one out. Continue getting this top one out. There, and just like that, got the throttle position sensor out of the vehicle. Now inside here, we've got the throttle blade. So as I move the throttle, you can see how that turns. And now there's the notches inside the TPS sensor, which that's going to rest on. So when I put this new one in here, I want to make sure it's setting on there properly so that it's actually reading. And so in order to do that, I had to kind of start it to the one side and kind of twist it and get it set into place. Once I've got it into place, I will take my new screws or bolts or whatever type of hardware you want to call it and thread those into place by hand. Now I just need to tighten them down, take my wiring and route it back the same way it was. I want to make sure we're up against this heat shield on the EGR tube here. If this heat shield is missing and we lay this against it, it's going to melt our wiring, causing other issues. So once I've got everything tightened down, I'll make my electrical connection, clear any trouble codes. Then if a scan tool is available, I want to do a throttle sweep with the key on engine off. Make sure that it goes from about 0.5 volt up to about 4.5 volts, a wide open throttle, indicating that my new TPS is operating properly. Once that's done, we should be all set to go. Hopefully now you understand what it takes to replace the TPS sensor on this 2.7 liter Dodge Intrepid engine.